Hello? Hi. If everybody is sitting down and ready, then we can start. I hate starting before everybody's ready because I want everybody to be able to, you know, the whole shenanigan. Hi, I'm Flitter. Ow. I hope you all have had fun at the last panel, asking a lot of questions, even hearing a little bit about voice acting, do and don'ts. Here you will hear more about that. So this is a panel for people who has never done voice acting before. Like you have no idea how it works or what it even means. So this is a panel for the greenest of greens. But if you have done it before, that's great too. You know, maybe fun to see what happens. So don't expect like, oh, this is how you get professional. No, this is how you start. Yeah, that is kind of the introduction. I will have a Q&A after I'm done with the presentation. So save your questions, either on your phone or in your head, whatever works. Let's go. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way, which some people like very much and others don't. The program you will use for recording your voice is very important because it needs to be easy to use and at the same time also have the different things that you need. We have a free version, which is called Audacity, if I'm pronouncing that correct. Audacity, that's also what I use myself. It's not the best picture, but that's kind of how it looks like. Audacity, again, is free, and you can find it almost everywhere. I know both hobby and professional people that uses it. If you also like making music and singing and all those shenanigans, I should not go in front of the projector. We have what is called FL Studio, or as I thought it was, Carrot Studio, because it looks like a carrot, but it's not a carrot. So don't do the mistake I did. FL Studio is, there's a free trial, but I think at the end you have to buy the program. But again, it's a very, very good program, both for instruments, singing. You can use it for voice acting, but it's kind of overkill, so that's why Audacity is usually better. So if you're new and you don't do music already, Audacity is your buddy. Next. Recording space. Not everybody can go to a town like, hey, I'm gonna rent your recording studio for like 5 hours, and they are like, oh, that would be 15,000, blah, blah, blah. You're like, huh? That doesn't work. So, what do? We have Silver Quill over here, giving a little hello. He has something that's called a portable vocal booth, where you can record on the go if needed. It's not like fully professional level, but it's good enough for hobby projects or other things you need to do. And here you have the little linky-loo. Otherwise, you can Google portable vocal booths. Boots? Booth? Booth is the word. So here you see two different pictures of them. What you can do otherwise is building your own recording room, which kind of what I did back in Norway. Sadly, I don't have a picture of it because it's kind of goofy looking. Basically what I did was that I covered the whole room with wool blankets and covers that you usually have on your bed, on the floors, the roof, and everything around me, to muffle everything so it wouldn't bounce back, because sound waves moves everywhere. And that's why echoes are so powerful, and they are the worst enemy, except for clicking noises when you're recording. Next. Apropos recording and clicking noises, we have microphones. Usually what most people use nowadays, especially for beginners, is USB microphones. They are brilliant. I use them myself. All three that you see in front of you are different price ranges, and they're all USB. You can get what they would call professional ones, where they're using something called a condenser, which basically means you have a small computer to connect to your computer to do the from voice to electric. That's a bit more, what's it called? I love having English as a second language. Nope, totally blank. But either way, The USB one is fine. You might, depending on how professional you want to go further, when you find out this is something for you, sure, go, take a look, find out for yourself. All of this is just recommendations based on what I have experienced myself. If you are not happy with it, you're free to go and do your own research. No worries. So we have the blue Snowball Ice. Last time I checked, it was around 40 to 50 euros. And yes, it can sound like a lot, but for a decent microphone where you can do projects, singing that have a clear sound, this is the cheapest I would recommend going. You have the Rød NTNU USB Mini condenser. It's a smaller microphone, so it's easier to travel with. And the Blue Yeti is what I'm currently using myself, which is around 120. Yeah, it's a stair price, but again, that has specific settings for like, are you recording with another person? Are you recording just music? Are you recording the whole room? Or just you as a person? Next. Headsets. I have a war with headsets microphones. Sure, they're great for Discord. They're great for when you're just, you know, talking with friends and you're doing shenanigans and stuff like that. But when it comes to streaming, voice acting, singing, they are not your friends. And you will discover, if you ever do, that the nice little earpieces or the microphones connected to them or built in them is not your friend. Because when imagining you have recorded for an hour, you're exhausted, you can feel your voice like not good, like you're about to get a cold, but you're not sick. And then you look at your recording, and you start to listen, and you hear... That usually means you have recorded with your headset mic, and not the mic who is supposed to take out the clean, crisp voice. And you have to start all over again, because Discords, programs, and the computer can decide to just, I'm going to switch microphones now for whatever reason. I promise you, it happens more than you think. So if you're going to record, remember to take something that's only headphones, no inbuilt mic. What I'm using myself at home is this one, which is Vic for, I cannot pronounce it at all, but it's there on the screen. Take a picture if you want. It's very good, the studio microphones. Also silver, I think it was silver. He recommended a Not Gear TX100. It's also studio microphones that has more isolation for you, so it's easier for you when you are, what's it called? Editing your sound files. Because when you're editing your sound files, you need to know what's exactly on your sound file. File. Like you can hear if, for example, you all have refrigerators, I assume. Yes? No? Are you living in Stone Age? No? Okay. The thing is, if you are recording and you have a refrigerator within 3 meters or similar, I can promise you the microphone will pick it up and it will ruin your whole recording. So, having a proper headset that's blocking out every other sound will help you immensely in keeping your recording clean and what it needs to be, because you have no idea how much noise breathing does. That's not fun. Next. Recommended people. You heard Ellie Ray mentioned earlier, or on the past panel before here. She's down here in the corner with Fizzy and Miss Main, as most of you know her. ellieray.com is where you can have private or group or courses where she will help you find out how to do your voice acting for your voice. Also, I think she has workshops where she also helps you put through a demo for professional work or for hobby work. We have It's Just Some Random Guy on YouTube who does a lot of other videos on how to do voice acting, improvisation, and stuff. Also, a recommendation from Silver Quill. We have Bill Deweese, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He is a guy who tries to help everybody do voice acting professionally, but also for themselves. He has so many videos, I can't tell you how many. They're really good, and he sometimes live streams. And then you know it's all for free. I think he also does courses, but I haven't tried them out myself. I only seen his videos. The charming gentleman up in the corner, Eric, he does mostly vocal warm-ups and singing. Because when you have a voice, you don't really think about how much you're talking unless you start talking a lot. Then you can notice that you're getting tired in your voice. But if you do vocal warm-ups, if somebody doesn't know what that is similar to what the noises that Misty made. Like, that means all the vocal cords that you have in your throat, all those strings, get stretched and bended and folded, just like a muscle. You need to stretch it to be able to use it properly and maintain it over the course of the day. Next. So when it comes to voice acting, it can be done on any age, any gender, any shenanigans. And you can see that Rock is doing his very charming hey, because when you're voice acting, you have to remember, if you don't look silly, you're not doing the job correctly. Voice acting is about really bringing the emotions and the feelings out. That's kind of the same thing, but still. Out with your voice, because normal actors has the liberty and the, what shall I say, luxury, that's the word. They have the luxury of body language and people actually seeing your facial expressions and what situation you're in. When you do voice acting, you have none of it. So if I go and hide behind here, you guys don't know if I'm actually in pain or if I'm happy or sad. But when you see me, it's a lot more obvious. So here is a thing that has helped me, also been recommended by Ellie, is the feeling wheel. It will help you a lot with making demos, also for you to practice your voice. Because we see happy, like, okay, happy. What kind of happy? You can have happy when you're peaceful, happy when you're playful, happy when you're proud, which can be very, very different. If you ever watched enough anime or movies or other series. Next. Avoid this. That doesn't mean you can never ever do it ever again. It just means before a recording session, this is smart to avoid. And if you want to do voice acting professionally, it also is recommended to avoid it more than usual. Because smoking, yes, the lungs, of course, but the smoking also goes into your vocal cords because it burns them. Because they are in the air canal, or the air tunnel where you're breathing. So when you drag smoke down into your lungs, you don't just burn the lungs, you also burn the vocal cords. And that is bad. I don't think I have to tell you why. You all heard about, that person has a whiskey voice. Yes. Because they also tear on the vocal cords. Alcohol tears on the vocal cords, and it can do that over a longer time. Fast food and milk and citrus, that can vary from person to person. They are not something that is damaging your vocal cords, but right before a session, the fat layers, or the milk layers, or the citrus will have a chance of staying on the vocal cords. And it will make you sound more like this than how you actually sound. You can try it out if you don't believe me, because it's different for every person. Some people get affected by milk, some people don't. And you might be wondering, what is that guy strangling himself doing on this panel? Well, a lot of people who do voice acting ends up having to do, like, oh, your character is getting strangled. You have to do that without actually strangling your I promise, I'm a voice actor. A lot of people sadly do strangle themselves to get the sound, and that is, again, dangerous for your vocal cords and your throat. And you know, if you strangle yourself too much, you go, and we don't want that, especially if you're alone, because that is one of the luxuries of voice acting. You don't have to do it in front of a crowd. Yay! So for all of us who has stage fright, hi. It's a lot more relaxed. Next. Recommended books, because never underestimate the power of books. Any Twilight fans here? Yeah, I'm referring to the princess, not the sparkly vampires. Just to be clear. So, we have voice acting for dummies. And no, it's not for dum-dums, but it's explained in a way that you will not feel overwhelmed. I have it myself, I read through it, so yes, it's nice. And I have dyslexia and ADHD, so reading is a chore. We have the autonomy of the voice. It's when you want to be more technical and know more about the throat and all the other shenanigans that's there, like the tendrils? Mandlach? The thing that if you take it out, you can eat ice cream as much as you want. Yeah, those. Thank you. And Ellie Ray, and I'm very sorry, I don't remember her names right now, but the other lovely lady, they have a lot of video courses that you can watch, that you can buy and watch whatever you want. And then you have the singing athlete, which helps you create a workout that will help you have better breath control, because when you're voice acting, you are actually using your whole body, because you breathe like with the tummy, you breathe with the middle floor, you breathe with the side of your ribs, and you breathe on top and in the middle. And that's 5 ways to breathe, just with your lungs. And then we're not going to start talking about with the mouth in and out and nose and all the shenanigans there, because that is a lot. And that's something you can read about in these books. One I haven't been able to find and read myself, but I have heard great recommendations of, is transgender voices. Not just for people who are trans, but also for people who might want to learn to have a deeper voice or a lighter voice. So, you know, that's something to take a look at if you're interested in that. And I just want to point out that if you're a voice actor who can't improvise, that's fine. If you're a voice actor who only has one voice, that's fine. Your ability to play the character, like just like when you were a kid and you were like goofing around with your friends or alone, or you were watching Lion King and you wanted to pretend to be Scar, like, that is play. That is voice acting. Of course, you're acting it as well, but the effort you put into your voice, the emotions, and like, oh, I'm gonna be evil, son. That is play. Voice acting is play. You're putting on a play with friends or for yourself, because all we want to do is create something that makes it fun for others to see or be inspired. So voice acting is play. Remember that. Next. And that is about the basics. We have a microphone here if anyone has any more questions or have any questions, to be sure. What others I can say is that one thing to be on watch if you want to do it professionally. If you want to do it professionally, get used to being rejected. I think the voice actor for Glim Glam, I don't remember her name. Do you? You all know who Starlight Glimmer is, right? Yeah, thank you. She told on a Galacon panel that she had done like an estimation of all her roles, appliance, trying to get jobs in the voice acting community, professionally and non-professionally. And she had had 80% rejections, declines. So if you are sensitive to being told no, or you are not what we're looking for, voice acting might not be for you, because there's going to be a lot of rejections. And that's okay. That's not because of your level or necessarily what is happening around. Sometimes it's just that they need a specific voice. And just because you didn't have that for that role doesn't mean you don't have the perfect voice for something else. So please don't give up. The other lady that did the voice video programs was the chef Deb, was called Deb Munro. just so you know. So you can go and check that out. If you have questions, please come in front. I'm going to have some water.
Then, what kind of projects is like your favorite to voice act?
Favorite projects to voice? I would say when they get as silly as possible. Because then you can tickle the real voices that is in your head and you never know where you end up. Or you start making like I really like silly stuff, but I think what gets me most inspired and I enjoy in like a calmer way will be projects like I did with Lightning Bliss, which was, I think it was called A Lullaby for Bliss, Bliss's Lullaby. It's a song where she sings about, my OC sings kind of to her about her struggles with losing family members, and it's a very emotional song. Go to Lightning Bliss's YouTube page if you want to take a look at the whole animations. She does amazing animation and making more and more music nowadays. So emotional projects are very touching for me.
So, oh, that's loud.
That's okay.
Picking up with the you like silly stuff, that got me thinking. What is your blooper to actual output ratio? Like, what kind of percentage of your recordings end up as bloopers, where you you stumble over your tongue, you can't read a line correctly, stuff like that?
That varies from project to project, but I can promise you, if you ever do a
Speaking of bloopers,
if you ever do narration for audiobooks and stuff, I'm gonna promise you, you're gonna have a lot of bloopers, because especially if you have dyslexia like me, and suddenly you're trying to read, is this type of pins that are like metal, and people call them. I can't pronounce the word. I say enamel. Enamel. Can you pronounce that? Mm. Ah, okay. Oh, don't talk about that word. Ugh. And we also have the word. I say barding, but I think it's supposed to be barding. It's basically a type of letter protection that you have in full Czequestria. But the thing is, depending on. Also, for me, it's mostly becomes bloopers when I have to read from the page. If I can improvise or put in emotion and just remember what I need to say, it goes a lot better and a lot faster. But that will differ from person to person. But I would say when you get the vibes of it, you kind of find out where your strength and where your weaknesses are. I would say 40 to 10% becomes bloopers. And a lot of those bloopers are fun, and some people like having those after the videos. So if you sometimes they put that after the video, or when you mispronounce cataclysm. I think I did it right there. Then fun stuff happens. See?
Hi, so I wanted to know what is your process for, basically at the start of recordings, what's your process for getting into a character when it might seem silly, different from your voice or your own character?
Getting into a character is very fun and can be very different from people to people, but for me, I like learning like all the lore, all the shenanigans. I would like to see pictures. I need to like know I want to try to know their mindset. I want to try to get to know them so that it's easier for me to, also based on their experiences, how would they sound? Like a very traumatic person that is not an optimist, would that sound like this and like, yes, let's go and do this now? So they wouldn't sound like that. They would, okay, we need to do this, let's go. They would use different words. They would use different phrases. They would have different pitches, speed, everything like that. So much of the personality is in the voice. I also really like either cosplaying the character or dressing up how I think they would dress and get into more of the feeling, because if they're a person that wears corset, then you're kind of limited in how much oxygen you have access. If you are voicing somebody who is in a dress, then yeah, okay, swoosh, swoosh, that's nice. Just don't get the swoosh, swoosh on the sound file. So that really helps me. Really digging down to the character and maybe dressing up like them to get the feel of who they are. And for some people, they just see the character, see one picture, see the lines, and they already have it. And that's great. That's fine. Everybody has different things. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
How do you usually apply for a job? Is it audition, or do you send a map, or what's it like?
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. Thank you. At least when you're starting out, and then it would be community or hobby projects. If you don't start anything yourself, which is usually the easiest way, because then you are the creator, you're the boss, and they're like, yeah, I want to voice the main voice actor. But if you are doing it for somebody else, the fastest way to find auditions, which would be casting calls, that's what we call it in the fandom. You go to YouTube, you go to Twitter, or X as it's called, or you go to Casting Call Club, which is its own webpage where you have to make an account and fill out what you can do, have some sound files, put them up. Hi, monkey. And those will then start a search bar where you can put in like pony, My Little Pony, Fallout Equestria, whatever you want to do, because they have both pony and non-pony on those. But on YouTube, it's usually just casting call, My Little Pony, and stuff will just fall out, pop up, that's the word. What you will usually see is that they describe to you what characters they're after, and how they want you to deliver the lines. Usually, they want it in WAV or MP3s, but WAV usually gives you the best quality, but it's also a bigger file. What you will see is that usually it's a Google Doc. If you start voice acting, get used to using Google Doc a lot. There they will tell you the specific lines they want you to try out for the character with, and if they want everything in separate files or everything in one file is fine. And then you deliver it to them. And if you hear from them, that's great. If you don't, it usually means you didn't get the part. And they're not going to tell you why you didn't get it. Because, yes, I think everybody deserves feedback. But if you are 1 out of 300, you can't really expect to hear back from them. So, again, 80% should probably be like, nope, never hear from them ever again. Next project. You just have to go, 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 go. When it comes to voice acting, what's it called again? Not looseness. No. No, like when you don't do it. Procrastin. That one. Yes, that one. That one is your worst enemy. Because it stops you from delivering on time. It stops you from trying out on new ones. And if you stop auditioning, you don't get anywhere. You don't grow. You don't get to do the things you want to do unless you start making your own projects. You also have, a lot of people do, what's it called? Song covers of other songs, where you have to be a bit careful because not everybody lets you use their song instrumental. So you have to be, you know, credits, blah, blah, blah. That's very important. And it will continue to teach you how to use your voice. Because yes, techniques are awesome, but you will very quickly find out that the emotions you're putting in your voice can make night and day. I have had multiple editions where I delivered a good file, I delivered on time. They said I had the voice that they were after, but somebody delivered the lines emotionally better. Or they thought I wasn't good enough by narrating action thrillers. Like, I wasn't able to make it sound exciting, but I had good emotional delivery or funny. But if you can't do all of them and they find somebody who can do all of them, then they're going to pick them, and that's okay. That just means you have more to learn. And if you find out, like me, that you can maybe never do action stuff, that's fine. You just know more what's your category. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Is it working? Okay. What about voice impressions? And have you like copied someone else's voice for a character? So, yeah.
Well, if somebody needs a rarity for a project, then yes, you have to copy that voice. Some people can do it on the spot. Me, I usually have to listen to only that voice for everything from an hour to a day, where then I can maybe try to copy them. Some people can copy right out. Somebody has to do like me and practice. Some people can switch dialects without a problem, and somebody cannot. And that's the thing. You can do it in every language, in every dialogue. And if you have to copy a voice for a fan project, that's completely fine, because that's usually what they ask for. Not many people want an OCK voice. They want, oh, I want rarity. Oh, I want Rainbow Dash. Yeah, that's the thing. Rainbow Dash's voice is actually very hard to do. So if you find out that you get a good Rainbow Dash voice, then I think the fandom will be very happy. Thank you.
Hi, so one of my favourite videos you did actually was at this Galacon for the opening ceremony. I just want to know how much fun that was to voice.
Can you repeat that? I'm very sorry.
Sorry. So at this year's Galacon, we had at the opening ceremony, we had the video.
Open ceremony, yeah.
And you were part of the voice. I just want to know if that was fun.
Oh, yeah, I was Sanni.
Sorry.
Buffoon! I will not repeat the rest. Yeah, Sanni is very fun to voice. I tried to copy the voice she had before, which was from delivered by Patch. I don't know how similar I was, because when I listen to it, it sounds like two very different voices, but I'm being told that I did a good job, so yay! So I hope people liked it, and it was a lot of fun to record. I had bloopers, but also I love your beanie, cute beanie. I did deliver bloopers, and the brothers who animated it really thought they were funny, but they couldn't include it in the animation because it needed to be a bit more professional. So, but yeah, there were bloopers there, especially one where I got so annoyed I started talking Norwegian. Because, you know, Vikings are not supposed to have horns on their helmets. So that was fun. Thank you.
Don't be shy. Come on. Oh, okay.
No questions are stupid. This is like the basics of voice acting. So I'm happy to answer anything I can help with. And of course, you're free to go and do your own research and find other people who can help you. I am not the ABC of voice acting. Yeah.
Will we ever get to hear the bloopers from the Galacon video?
I am very sorry, but no, unless the brothers or Galacon post it, because I deleted those files, because a very important thing when it comes to voice acting, keep it organized. Otherwise, you will never find the voice file you're searching for. So do it with project, date, what character you were playing, and then you. Otherwise, things will disappear into the computer void. So no, I'm very sorry.
Or like my project files, it just becomes all random afterwards.
Yeah, that's a scary place, especially if it's like somebody loses your file and you have to re-record, or you have to record unless you have the file, and they're like, "Oh, we have to have it now," and you're like, I don't know where it is. So external hard drives are not a good place to store sound files, because they also disappear sometimes.
Do you back up? I'm sorry. Do you back up your project files?
That depends on the project. If it's big, like for the narration, I kinda am still doing, but we haven't recorded in like a year. The Fallout Equestria Dead Tree, I do the narration for that audiobook. That's where I have to have backups, because the very first time I did it, I ended up having a corrupt file. So I had to re-record like 3 times. Yay! 2 hours with only talking, and that means 8 hours with recording. Because you have to take away bloopers, you have to make sure it's said in the right way, because when you're delivering a line, you can't just do one take, because you're not sure what kind of take they're after. Are they after an emotional one? Are they after where they're emphasizing on, like, I have to find that tree, or I have to find that tree? You have different emphases on what it's important, and then it's like, oh no, you can't pronounce that character's name, you have to redo it, and you can't just retake the name, you have to redo the whole frickin' chapter. So yeah, recording takes a lot of time, but it's also a lot of fun, so don't expect it to be easy. Thank you.
Hello. I have a question. If we take it from the other side, and let's say I'm someone who wants to hire a voice actor, where should I look for them, and what should I provide them with, and what should I have prepared for them?
Okay. First off, the Google Doc is your best friend, because that is where you're going to put all the information. You're going to put the project name, your name, preferably the fandom name usually. And then you write a little bit about the project, what it type, like, is it a Fallout Equestria one? Is it like a fan-made episode? Is it your own fan fiction? Is it, like, say you're making a reaction video and you would like to have a character do a funny skit, or like Pinkie Pie interrupting you or something, then you would be looking for a Pinkie Pie, somebody who can do a Pinkie Pie voice. So what you would do then is, let's say you did a reaction video to keep it simple. You would write what kind of episode it was, and that you want the Pinkie Pie to be accurate and funny. And then you would provide 3 to 5 lines from Pinkie Pie that would be similar, or maybe the line itself that you need. So you could hear how that person would be able to pronounce. And if they were funny, if they were high pitched, if they sounded like her. And then you would provide with, okay, I want this in an MP3 file. I want it sent to this email address. Name the file, the Pinkie Pie, their name, and date, for example. And then they would send it to you, and then you would get, say you get 17 people. You have to listen through all of them. And if they did all 5 lines, then you know they also remember to ask for multiple takes for each line, otherwise you will not get the full understanding of what they can provide for you. And then you have to go through all those takes and find out what you like the best. And then, also, if you want to be nice, you can tell them, hey, thank you for submission. Sadly, you were not chosen. And that's okay, because that's how the game is. And then when you have your person, then you're like, hey, you got the part, congrats. These are the lines I need, and multiple takes, and they deliver to you. You listen to them, and like, okay, that one sounds good, I'm gonna use that one sounds good, that doesn't sound good. So you listen to more of the takes that they did. If that still doesn't work, you say, hey, great job, but I still need a re-recording of like that and that line. Could you do that? And then they deliver it to you. Remember that the deadline should probably be, also, if it is a group project, bigger group project, I would recommend having the deadline around 2 months. So people have time, because, you know, life gets in the way, so you have to make sure that people have time to record and for you to go through everything. So when the audition closes, that's when people cannot send you stuff anymore, or it's not valid anymore, that's up to you. And then you choose one, and then you're done. Just a lot of people make YouTube videos for their casting calls, so they're announcing it, because if you don't do that, then you have to go to Twitter, and if you don't have many followers on Twitter, it's sometimes hard to get those auditions out. You could also hashtag with Brony, or Pony, or My Little Pony, an audition or casting call. That can help, even if you don't have any followers. Outside of that, it's basically just spending time, listen to all of them, find out what you like. See, Google Doc, video, Twitter, and if you use the casting call club, then you have to make an account there and do the whole shebang over again. If you have pictures of the characters, that really helps as well. See, thanks.
How do you negotiate commissioning?
Oh, yeah, if you take money. Money would be, that will be if you are going up in the fandom. As they say, you're getting people maybe contacting you for roles. Or if a casting call says that this will be paid, then you will get paid, and they will tell you how much. If you feel that that is not worth your time, then you can choose to either, hey, if it's not worth your time with the money, then don't apply. But if it is worth your time, the money, then you audition. But if it is you setting a price for yourself, usually they would say, also if you're going properly, you have to take in the use of your equipment, use of your time, and then it also, if you're editing your recordings or if you're sending it raw. Sending it raw means that you're not taking out the bloopers, you're not taking out the or any other small sounds. Because if you're editing as well, that should usually be edited, added to the bill. But taking that type of pay is usually more for professionals. If you're doing it in the fandom, then you got to be really popular, at least as far as I have experienced. So start out with doing it for free just to get the experience and to learn.
Hello. I do voice direction for some fan projects, and I wanted to ask you if you ever had, if you work with like voice directors, do you have like feedback, like do's and don'ts for voice directors, like maybe like some experiences where you got annoyed at them for doing something, or maybe they did something you really liked, so maybe you have some suggestions for that?
What is the question exactly?
If you have any
Okay, what I do like is when they actually give, what's it called? The feedback that are not with ill intent. I don't know what it's, constructive criticism, is that the word?
Constructive.
Yeah, thank you. English. What I like about them is when they actually listen more than 5 seconds to the file, and they really take in like, okay, they're good at doing this, but they're not so good at that. Why are they not good at that? Is there like, can I understand why they're not good? And if you give that as feedback, that will help that actor immensely to become better, because they're being told, like, hey, this is what you did good, yay, booster, so they don't get completely crushed. And then if you tell them what they can improve on, and maybe how to improve as well, that will be a great help, and they are way more likely to audition for you again. What I don't like is when, if they give you feedback, they're just plain rude and say you're trash. Then it's like, dude, come on, don't. But again, like I said, if you even get feedback from a director or from somebody who has a casting call, you're lucky. But if you're paid to be a director, a vocal coach, as we would call it, then yeah, keep it professional and keep it straight to the point, because a lot of people don't necessarily get all the technical shenanigans or words. So keep it simple, unless that person is already experienced in voice acting. I hope that helps.
Okay, we have time for one more question.
I would have one. Oh,
okay.
Yeah. In the show, we have it often that the voice actor for a character and the singing actor for a character are different. Did you ever participate in a role like this?
Well, no, because I'm usually the one who does both the voice acting and the singing. Sometimes I do only the singing. For some reason, people like that sound. But that's quite normal, because just because you can voice act doesn't necessarily mean that you can sing. And that's okay. Not everybody can do both. But if you can do both, that's a big plus. We had a question.
Yeah.
Final question.
Okay, hello again.
Yeah.
You said that you, when you record, that you do different versions.
Yeah.
Is it like 2 or 3 or 10?
10 would be a bit much, unless it's like you only have one line. If you have like, if you have to deliver a finished product on 30 minutes, I would say 3 is max. Okay. If you have only 5 lines for the whole project, then sure, do 7. But 10 is usually a bit much, unless you have only 1 line. But that is a good question. Just the painful thing for me is actually listening back to the take, because I don't know why people like the sound of my voice. I hate it, which is also apparently very common. But just, as we would say in Norway, just take yourself by the neck and just get it done. Listen to yourself and like, oh, that was a good delivery, keep that one. And like go through what you do. Like say if you do 10 takes and then you take the 3 best ones. That shows I promise I can speak English. Variety and emotions. Because I know I'm emphasizing a lot of emotion, but there are so many people who do deadpan voices when they are supposed to be something else. Sure, Maud is great. I like Maud, but not everybody can sound like Maud. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, we have 9 minutes left of the panel, and I sadly have nothing else to let you guys know or recommendations, but there is my fancy schmancy thingy-gabubs. I have a YouTube where you can see at least all the YouTube work I've done, including the songs I've done with Lightning Blitz, as I mentioned before, and the audiobook. Twitter, or X, is where I usually like, oh, look, I'm at a con, click. Twitch is where I used to do brony chillin' chats. I sadly don't do them anymore, but I might do other stuff or game or something. So that's like the fun, chill place, but it's not very active right now. Thank you everybody so much for coming, and I hope you all have a splendid day and an awesome con. Also, thank you to my assistant, Prof.